here this morning before heading down to the studio. I wanted to try and get down early because, as you can see, it is a play park, and yeah, I don't really want to be known as a guy that's kind of hanging about play parks during the day when there's people about. So yeah, at the end of the last video, I had kind of said I wanted to give you a bit more context as to like what all the bits of metal were that I was working with and what the project is that I'm actually working on. So where I'm standing right now in Montgomery Street Park is where a pretty massive Helter Skelter, which is a playground slide for anyone that doesn't know what Helter Skelter is. It stood here and it was installed in the 1980s, been a bit of a iconic landmark around this area since then. You know, generations of people have stories about the Helter Skelter and positive and good memories, but also, you know, less positive ones, breaking bones, falling off it, people getting drunk, pissing down it, drinking at the top, all these kind of things. So yeah, it's something that's certainly lived a life and has influenced the life of many people who've lived around here. In 2022, the Helter Skelter was unfortunately deemed unsafe, and so it was removed by the council. There's a community group around here called Friends of Montgomery Street Park, and they petitioned for a long time to keep the Helter Skelter. They actually had it surveyed and scanned with like the same technology they use for checking like the structural integrity of like bridges and things like that. So it was actually X-rayed. When that was done, it was shown that it was actually structurally sound. But the council insisted on removing it, saying that it was unsafe and it didn't abide by kind of like modern day health and safety and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, unfortunately in the end it was removed. The friends group looked for someone to do something with it so that it wasn't just sent to a scrapyard and lost forever. So I'd come forward and said that I'd like to take the Helter Skelter and dismantle it and then reassemble it into a series of sculptures. At the end of not last year, the year before, 2024, it was being stored in a kind of a lockup a little bit out of the city. So I went along there, dismantled it over about 3 or 4 weeks, which was a bit of a task outside in the middle of winter, cutting apart this massive metal thing, something I've never done before. And so yeah, I worked there, disassembled it as much as I could, and then all the parts got moved from the council lockup down to the garage that I work in. My boss Gregor was kind enough to let me keep it there. I don't know if he quite knew what he'd agreed to when I turned up with like 2 trucks full of metal from this old playground slide, but he let me do it, which I'm really grateful for. So I kept it there and slowly but surely kind of chipped away at it, dismantling it further, breaking it down into smaller, more manageable bits, and then yeah, kind of putting it back together into this sort of series of sculptures. I mean, I'm calling them sculptures, but they're wall-mounted artworks, but they have a kind of structural quality to them, I suppose, with them being kind of heavy bits of metal and things like that, and all being welded back together. One of the things that sort of really appealed to me and made me want to do this project was the fact that it's this object of sort of like local significance and significance to the community that was just going to be thrown away, and all those memories just lost with it and forgotten about. And as you can see, the park has changed since then. It's had a bit of a redo, and it'd just be a shame that thing's just lost forever. You know, a lot of the other artworks that I do is kind of around like studying sort of different surfaces and objects and places, and seeing the sort of like their decay and erosion over time, whether that's intentional damage or just sort of like natural weathering over time or whatever it might be. And I try to kind of try and translate these effects of time into artworks, and I end up using a lot of sort of corrosives and a lot of layering and scraping and intentional rusting, things like that. And with this, it was almost like that material there already that had this decay in it, that I'm always trying to create. And so it was more a case of sort of like putting this thing together in a way that sort of showed off the textures of it, and the bits of flaking paint, a little bits of graffiti that had been left there from the years, and all the marks from people sliding down the slide. It was all these sort of like traces of time and memory were already there and embedded within it. So it was more a case of me just sort of like putting it together in a way that looked nice, or looked appealing, to me anyway. Yeah, I won't natter on for too much longer. I need to get down to the studio because I want to get started. But yeah, I thought I would come and just give you a little brief description of what I actually do and why I'm messing about with all these bits of metal. So I'll see ya soon. This is my second week in the space here. Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one. I mean, at the end of last week, once I got the place ready and stuff, sort of sit down to start work, and yeah, I had this moment of kind of, oh shit, right, I've actually got to do something with this now, I think up until now it's felt a little bit kind of low stakes because I've been either just working at home or working out the garage that I work in, so it's, I don't know, it still felt real obviously, but not as kind of real. But now that I've kind of got this space that I'm renting out and can do it the way that I want and have all my stuff in, it's, yeah, I don't know, got a little bit nervy there, but I think the best way to get over that is just start making, and I suppose cementing the place as somewhere where it's somewhere for work, somewhere that things are made. After an intense couple of days and making a lot of progress with this new series of artworks, I had to go along to the RSA with my good friend Cameron to pick up my artwork from the Society of Scottish Artists show. It was, yeah, it was amazing showing my work in a place like this. Such a such an iconic Edinburgh venue, somewhere that I used to wander about as a kid and teenager even, and yeah, always kind of wondered like how do people actually show work here and what is this place, and you know, just kind of fascinated by what went on, and cut to a good while later, and I've got my work in there, so yeah, I feel really lucky to have shown my work there. Don't feel so lucky having to lug this thing back upstairs in the studio, but what can you do? This is kind of why I've made a smaller series of these works for the next show. I didn't really think about how heavy they all were, and didn't realise that until I actually had to set up my last show. The next few weeks will be really busy, just trying to get my work together for my show at Grateful Gallery in Glasgow. But yeah, I'm loving having this space and being able to just work away. I'm going to try and put this up on the wall at some point. Found it just on Leith Walk. I think it's maybe used by the trams or something like that, but it was just lying on top of a bus shelter. I feel like it must have been knocked off at some point.